Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.
Hey Teddy, have you noticed how little attention science and health issues get in the media?
Totally, Edgar, yet science information is very important.
Yeah, for sure. That's why the Health Journalists Network is here.
How can they help?
They are a group of journalists dedicated to advancing public understanding of healthcare issues through impactful reporting on health and science.
Oh, really?
Yes, they meet up every month with scientists and researchers, policymakers, and activists at the science media cafes. They then relay what they discuss to the public.
Does that benefit us?
Oh yes, very much so. This helps with health and science literacy for a healthy Ugandan society.
Okay. I love getting informed about science and health issues. Health information makes all the difference between life and death. I'll look them up and engage them.
That's great. They are based all over the country.
Oh, okay. That's interesting, and they should be making real impact.
They are empowering health communities through journalism. Journalists can save lives just like doctors.
Hi, Rogers. Can I ask you something?
Shoot.
What does corruption mean?
Well, summarily, corruption is abuse of public power for personal gain or for the benefit of a group to which one owes allegiance. For example, when a public office is abused by an official accepting or soliciting a bribe. By the way, private people can be corrupt too, like bribing police officers to escape fines.
Okay. So exactly how does that concern me?
Well, do you pay taxes?
I guess, yeah. What does that have to do with this?
Everything. Because those taxes you pay are supposed to facilitate services you use, like water, electricity, roads construction, medicines in hospitals, name it.
Okay, that is much bigger than I thought. But it can be stopped, right?
Well, yes it can, although it may not be as easy as it sounds. And here is the reason why. Corruption roots are grounded in our country's social, political, economic, bureaucratic traditions and policies.
So, what has kept it going this long? I mean, why don't we stop it?
Well, the main reason why it has been here for so long is because institutions are weak, either as a result of poorly defined ethical standards of public service, weak administrative and financial systems, or ineffective watchdog agencies.
What can we do to stop it?
At a national level, we must focus on strengthening the independence and effectiveness of public institutions that fight corruption. At a personal level, we must commit to never giving a bribe.
I promise I'll never give a bribe.
Well, that's a great decision you have made. Me and you now have to spread this message to all our friends. If we all do our part, corruption will be normal.
This message is brought to you by Alternative Digital.
What at the church, though?
Tawali man, what's up?
Man, can you imagine people just dump everywhere? Someone drinks water and throws the bottle wherever.
Come on, Rogers. What else do you expect people to do with an empty bottle?
Simanya now, did you know that plastics take at least 450 years to decompose?
What? That's a long time.
Exactly, because plastics are made out of a lightweight and flexible material that doesn't decompose easily. And plastics everywhere in the environment cause plastic pollution.
What is plastic pollution now?
It is the accumulation of plastic waste in the environment, like bottles, polythene bags, straws. All of these contribute to plastic pollution.
I have been using them without knowing their effect.
Yeah, a lot of people have. Plastics are a danger to the ecosystem, both on land and in water.
So how can we overcome this problem? Is there something we can do?
Oh yes, we can reduce by minimizing the use of plastics, reuse by repurposing them, or recycle by collecting and processing them into new products.
Everyone wants to change the world, but no one wants to change themselves for the world.
How about we change our habits for the world?
And it starts with me and you.
This message is brought to you by Alternative Digital. The Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.
A very good morning. Farida Vikovela is my name. I welcome you to the Mighty Drive. We'll be here every day, Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. We'll be discussing matters of national importance, and today we are going to be talking economics. We are talking money. We are going to be talking free markets and how those taxes are going to be, we are going to get all the advices from a libertarian point of view. For them, they advocate for free markets. They do not want the government intervention. They feel like, allow the people to determine what that looks like. But also in their policies or strategies, we find that the poor people are always left behind. So we will need to understand how do they plan to involve the poor, because in such strategies, many times the poor will always remain the poor, and the elites, those who have the money, will go all with the big share, and nothing will happen. So we are going to be analyzing that and a lot more. We are looking at the politics of the country. I want to welcome you all from the presidential nominations. I was reporting live from Olubowa. I hope you got all the updates that you needed to know. But also I want to inform you the campaigns started, the presidential campaign started on Monday. You should follow your candidates, listen to their, listen to what they want to offer. And now gauge, is that the right candidate? Or you need to think and maybe look at another candidate. Because this is the time for you to interrogate those candidates. Ask them the necessary questions. Let them answer you. Don't fear to ask your candidate questions. Because if you fear now, then when it comes January 12th, when we'll be casting that vote for the president, you might cast the vote to the wrong candidate. So as they are going out there, as they are coming to you, asking for votes, ask them those necessary questions. Listen to how they want to solve your issues. Are those the solutions you are looking for? Some of them are offering you solutions without realizing or understanding the problems that you are facing. They will come with the solution without even sitting with you and understanding, is that what you want? Is that the problem that is really, really at heart that you want to be solved? So that and more, this is the time. And NUP today is in Busoga. I think Namutumba and Bujiri. Yeah, CP, Common Man's Party is also in Busoga. I think NRM is up there. So wherever the candidate is, find them. Ask them the real questions, the necessary questions, such that when it comes to the day of casting your vote, you know when and whom to vote for, because you would have listened to what they are going to offer. And in studios, I have Mr. Odong Arthur. He is a libertarian. He's a team leader at Afodi. He will be giving us the definition of Afodi, what they stand for and what they are advocating for. I welcome you, Mr. Arthur. And I am really humbled to be sitting with you discussing the economics of the country from a libertarian point of view.
Well, thanks very much. I'm so much humbled for being here. And for our listeners outside there, we are so much happy and delighted for this very platform to disseminate information and knowledge for the betterment of society. And that is the key aspect of it. Thanks very much once again.
We want to first know the definition of Afodi. As a team leader, what is that standing for?
All right. Afodi is just an abbreviation for Action for Development Initiative. Okay. And yes, it's a think tank, largely a think tank, and that is premised on the foundations of entrepreneurship, free markets, and liberty, because we do understand that such philosophies are the footprint in scaling and elevating the essence of society. And as we go deeper in the discussions, just as I heard from your introduction, that try to pinpoint a little bit of some economic policies and systems that try to govern our society. Yeah, yes. And basically that's what we largely go in. And then we approach this with three focus areas. That is, one, we have research and advocacy. That is so key, because we do understand that the economy does not only scale on simple skilling and the likes, but rather advocacy is key, because we have a policy environment, we have the other market, practical market environment. Those are two important avenues that have to meet together and scale together for development to happen. So that's why skilling does not run alone. Of course, skilling and entrepreneurship capacity building is also part of our initiatives that we do. And then advocacy, that is so much key. And then research, because there is continuous growth that is necessary. There is, there is continuous advancement in society. Policies may reach a point that have to be rethought through. That's why, continuous research and engagement is key. And our approach, of course, has different diversities and the scope and the demographics. We have the scholars that we largely engage because these are the foundation, these are the steady mark for the next, policy environment. They're the next market thinkers. They're the next market operators. Then, of course, we have the business segment, definitely those who are practically into the business, though we do also understand that we are all participants in the market, whether in politics, whether into the, tourism, whatever aspect, we are all victims to the market. And as we go on, we shall actually share largely about that. I think that's a nutshell about it. Though I also want to appreciate that we don't work alone. There are many other think tanks in the country that we collaborate with, yes, that are so much key into this space of the free market avenue.
Well, thank you. Our theme today that we are going to run this show is how to build a sustainable economic muscle amidst the prevailing opportunities and challenges. But when you look at Uganda's Vision 2040, it has ambiguous development plans right there. But also, we're looking at development plans looking at to increase the Uganda's GDP by tenfold. That means we are standing at 65 and we will do see in 2040 our GDP standing at 168, I think, in reference to what Dr. Mvala was telling us the other day. But also, if we are looking at the libertarian style of economy that they want to have for Uganda, to them, they champion for free markets. They want individual freedom, but also they want minimal government intervention, which is not as practical in Uganda. Because as a country, we are prevailing in a mixed economy. Should we say that it is an obstacle to Uganda's development?
Okay, well, I think before we start looking at the entire market system of the free market and the likes, we have to understand how does the market or the economy come into formulation. We have to understand that this begins from the individual. It's the individuals who create and trade wealth.
True.
Then, of course, because the individuals do not exist alone in society, they do interact with other individuals. That's whereby they form what they call societies. Now, when you understand that wealth creation, creating value and trading value commences from the individual, now that's where now we have to understand what are the necessary factors for the individual to create and trade value. Definitely there has to be freedom. The individual has to be free to think, free to create, free to reason, and free to exchange. Now that is the footprint of the entire free market that we talk about. Now, of course, we do understand that the individual is not, absolute in himself.
Yeah, true.
In my being free to think, free to create and the likes, I may be disastrous in one way or the other. So now there are rules or laws that have to be in place to ensure I do coexist with my colleagues and not to harm them. That my transaction with you must be a win-win. Now
it doesn't harm you, it doesn't harm me.
Yes, it has to be a win-win. Now there are laws in place. Now these laws have to enable that even if I have a comparative advantage, because of course we trade comparative advantages.
Yes.
The fact is, let's say, case in point is Digitalk has, a media room and so that's an advantage to Digitalk. So it communicates and exchanges news and information to our public. Now that's a comparative advantage that Digitalk has, and then the public has the audience that have to listen.
Yeah.
Now there are laws that have to be in place to ensure Digitalk does not insult maybe the public, and then also there should be rules that the public
doesn't also have to misinform.
Yes,
because it has the platform to do that.
Yeah, and there should also be laws to protect the Digitalk from the public in case they want to come and ban down Digitalk.
Also protect the public from Digitalk.
Yes. Yeah. Now that law there has to be a party that has to oversee the law.
Okay.
Now that's whereby the limited government comes in. Now the limited government is to come and oversee this law, that if we are into an agreement, if we are into a partnership of working together in the market, then it has to be a win-win. I should not use my comparative advantage or take advantage of your ignorance.
So the government doesn't have to determine the prices, doesn't have to do anything about the trade and all that is happening in the market. we want the government within the law and enforcement earlier alone.
Yeah, because you do understand that the government should actually be a referee and not a player in the market.
Oh.
There are two things. A referee only officiates. There are rules of the game that when the ball crosses the line, it's outside the game. So the referee will not kick for you the free kick. The referee will not carry the goalpost and take it to the other corner so that this team can score. The government should be a referee in the market. That the players...
I wait to blow the whistle when you go offside, you overstep.
Red card you when you actually is sabotaging your other colleague or the likes. That's what actually the government should do. That the government's intervention in the market should be to referee the market and not to directly participate or trade in the market. Yes.
Wow. So does that kind of market protect the people? How does the government benefit from such kind of economy?
Well, first of all, you know, most times we are talking about a government. That's why I had to break it down from the individual then to society.
Then society and then to...
Now, how does the government come in place? The government comes in place to foresee the coexistence of individuals in a harmonious environment. Because when there are no individuals, there is no government.
True.
And when there is no individual, there is no society. Now, when we talk about how does the government benefit, it's us trying to assume a government is another sort of immortal existing entity. But the government is made by individuals and individuals who live within the society. Now, how does, let's now categorize how the government benefits when, first of all, there is harmony, there is trade and exchange. Definitely, we do understand that when the government is to come and be a referee in this entire play, we believe in minimal taxation. You know, now, why it is a limited government to oversee this, there are small taxes that have to be remitted to ensure this government is solely limited to only do that. But in such a situation whereby government comes and not only be the referee, but rather becomes a dictator in trying to create a monopoly, put price ceilings and the likes, government assumes way more responsibilities now. That becomes a big government. Our interpretation of a big government is a government that assumes roles that are way beyond what it's supposed to do. If a government starts assuming let's say, construct schools, to construct hospitals, which private individuals can do. Now, what will government do? The government will justify taxing people more to do those things. And before you know, it gets deeper into the pockets of the individuals.
Yeah.
And claim to do what? Claim to build schools, claim to supply food and the likes. Yet, if government was only limited in protecting the laws and the like, and then ensuring security, a harmonious environment, and ensuring rule of law is good into practice, and ensuring the roads that are enablers to trade are in place, and leaves the other roles that private individuals can do to keep in play. Thank you.
Can't that an economy constrain other people that do not have the power, or doesn't it create clusters of people? Now this one has much, and then there is a group of people that doesn't have to participate because they do not have maybe the upper hand in such an economy. I feel like it creates classes.
Okay, well, it's first of all sort of a false utopia for us to think equality is a real thing.
Oh.
Equality is a scam. That is the thing. We are unequal. That's one thing. But then in us being unequal, it's the reason why we trade. I trade because I have it and you don't have it, but you have what I have, what I want.
The reason that we know that we are unequal, that is why we advocate for equity. But in your kind of economy, I don't really feel there is equity.
Okay, equity is an objective aspect, and that's very interesting. Now, equity is more of an environmental enabling factor.
Thank you.
Now, this is what we're trying to elaborate. Now, a case in point is, equity is when the rules favor all of us equally. The best person who does the best in that rule wins. Now, equality is in this way that you all have to have equal outputs, irrespective of the inputs. We have to understand that equity is the best landscape, and the free market system offers equity. That the best player will always win. Now, the laws are there to ensure it's an enabling environment for everyone. That when they say less taxes, it should not be less taxes on maybe the poor and then maybe you put high taxes on the rich and the likes. Let it be less taxes. Whoever can break it
everyone.
through, yes, let it apply equally to everyone. If they say when the ball crosses this line and you're two players in the market, and then you say, oh, for the other team, when the ball goes up to the other corner, it's when it is an offside or it is outside ball. Let the laws apply equally, and the best will always win. You know, it comes back to that aspect of equity, that with equity, actually, the best will always win, and those that want to fail, or those who are not the best in their own play, will always lose. That's it. But that is the beauty of the market, that your deficiency enables my trade to make you sufficient. We trade differences if we have to understand that. That I cannot make this shirt myself, but I can raise the money somewhere else with my comparative advantage. Now I go to the one who is making the shirt and we do a win-win exchange. That is why we trade. We trade our differences. Yes.
Because in my own perspective of equity, it is like we are operating in an environment where you have the money and I do not have the money, but we are all doing the same business. So I hope that there should be incentives put in place to help me elevate me to the level that you are, for us to trade freely and fairly.
Okay, and now that becomes disastrous. Now that's what gives the government more power and justification to infringe on people's freedoms and rights. Now what should be done in that play? Remove the barriers that could be hindering this, not an incentive. You know, this is a scenario. I visited a gentleman one time and talking about equality and equity and brought some caps and said, okay, there is a tall person and then there is a short one. Now what you do, there is a wall here that is blocking them from watching football. That what you do is bring a cap, carry this one and put. I told the gentleman, please remove the wall, let all of them watch the game. Why assume a responsibility of building a cap, and where are you getting the resources to build this cap? Or you want to cut the legs of this one who is tall to come down. Now that is the kind of reason.
I'll actually bring like two blocks to the short one, rise to the level of the tall one.
Where do you get the resources to set up the two blocks? That's where we would really want to get deeper. And we have to understand this, fellow countrymen, that as much as we think government has the resources, we need to understand where does the government has the primary sources of income. One, taxation.
Exactly.
Two, they borrow. Three, they print.
Yeah.
Now, when we come to those three aspects and we look at them, like to sensibly look at them in the economy, when the government borrows money, it's the citizens that pay back with the taxes, right? When the government is taxing, of course, when it has borrowed more money, it has to tax more. When it taxes more, it robs people of their own growth capacity. And then three, when the government prints money, what happens? There is inflation. So government has three major sources of income. Now, as much as we think it has a lot of money, it gets back to us.
Does that mean in your kind of economy, we shall not experience the taxes and the borrowing?
No, definitely taxes will be in place. But now the taxes, as we talked of limited government, limited roles, which means limited expenditure. Now, definitely the taxes will be minimal. That is the entire school of thought.
Looking at how our economy is running as of today, what are those things that you would point out that are really stagnating our development?
Okay, well, the first important thing should be ease of doing business. The ease of doing business. Uganda actually ranks 116 out of 119 that the study based on in 2019 up to date. Oh. Now, you have to understand that ease of doing business premises on some of the things. How quick is it easier for someone to formalize? You understand, when the business is not formal, it's out of the economic radar.
True.
And then two, how quick, because with the formalization, it's how quick, how cheap, and the likes. It is for someone to formalize and trade. Because when you're formal, you can scale the business. When you're formal, even when you have a stall in the market, you can easily supply hotels, you can easily export when you're formal.
Because it is easily to deal with you.
Yes, when you're formal, you're in the economic radar. And then the other aspect is exports and imports. Now, how easy is it for goods to be exported from the country? That's open markets, that's expansion.
Oh.
You'll have to understand that Uganda ranks poorly. Now, you asked a beautiful question of, what could be the pain points or the things to fix into the economy. Yeah. First and foremost, I think, is government to a little bit limits its intervention in the market. You know, a situation whereby a government is coming in and starting to award roads as a government and not obeying the rules of the game of bidding. You know, a company to bids, goes through all the criteria and the likes, and they win and earn it. That is one aspect where a government comes and says, okay, we are giving this holiday, we are giving this.
This company is going to do the Entebbe Express because maybe they feel it is the best company to do that.
But did it go through the evaluation process to get it? Or it was
handpicked.
Now, that is the issue, that it suffocates equal competition. It suffocates the competitive environment. Yet, free markets benefit from competition. That with competition, someone will come with the same quality but a cheaper price. So you go with that better offer. Because one thing with evaluation, at least I've been lucky to be in the construction industry, is they issue all the contracts, they issue all the documents and the designs of the contract the way the construction is needed. Now you make your proposal that I can do it for this much. Yeah. I can do it for this much. Now the one who has the better offer in terms of technical capacity, and then also, because you have the plans with you, you have the designs with you that you have to obey to build.
True.
Okay, so you can't tell me that, oh, I handpick someone else just because. Yet there would be someone else who has a better offer and would help the economy save something.
Oh.
Yeah.
So that kind of handpicking, I had the president, you know, otherwise the president has some statements to make when people come out, point out things that aren't going the right way. He said he has trusted companies to do stuff without him interfering in the bidding process, but also they have always disappointed him. That is why you are seeing the UPDF construction side doing a lot of constructions in Kampala, along Kampala roads, because he trusts them, and maybe they achieve. So we would say that the bidding and all that fairness that you are advocating for brings about some kind of I do not want to use the word that would sound, but the president doesn't really feel appeased or pleased with the results that come out. But looking at the economy as it is, we said, well, it isn't taking us anywhere. So us moving from the mixed economy that we are prevailing into to the economy that you are advocating for, what do we need to do?
Yes. First, to get back to what you said, I'll come to the question about the president saying he doesn't trust this. It should not be the president to trust.
It should be who should
he should question the systems in place.
The systems, maybe the systems are not working.
And who oversees the systems?
He himself, the reason why he came up with the solution.
Okay. Okay, that's a beautiful, amazing thing. But then it's also important for the country to know that, yes, the decision to some point of the engineering brigade fully taking on all the government construction and the likes was a little bit limited, because initially the engineering brigade, according to the declarations, was supposed to take over all the public contracts, okay? But of course, you do understand that since most of the money comes through, you know, financing and the likes, and has to be paid back, but then logically it's the private sector that has to pay back. It's the one that is taxed to pay back. So some of the decisions were lowered a bit. It's now the engineering brigade largely handles contracts that are largely funded by the government. But if they are funded by, let's say, you know, Africa Development Bank and the likes, then the procedure the private entities have to play in, or it has to be a public-private partnership. So the private sector definitely has to also have a play in, because it's the private sector that pays the taxes, that have to pay back the borrowed money and the loans.
Everything.
Yes. And then, of course, coming to the question, you said the mixed economy is doing well and good. You know?
No, I'm not saying it is doing well. Don't let people come for me thinking I am advocating for a mixed economy. Well, I am not an economist, but when we look at things, and looking at our Agenda 2040, looking at the NDB, you know, the National Development Plan 4?
Yeah, this is the last quarter.
Well, you say that we know where we're headed. We are seeing where we are headed.
Yes. You see, as we are coming to talk about that, you'll find the bias this country or people have garnered about free markets is because there's that aspect of when the government comes and fully plays into the game, and then it gives other individuals leeway to thrive in the market, and that creates a harm to the free markets. That you'll see, oh, so-and-so is thriving because they are blocking a certain importation of goods so that someone's products can excel in the market, and now people blame it on free markets. They say, it's because of the monopoly being created, but then that one infringes on the entire integrity of free markets, because if it is free markets, it's competition. That yes, for you have an enabling environment to create locally, but also let's open up. Now, it's the consumer to choose. If I can get the same tiles, or if I can get the same bag from, let's say, a Kenyan company at the same price, let me choose. Do not.
So you are part of those fighting boo-boo, buy Uganda, build Uganda?
Now, I would have to say this. I'm neither pro or against boo-boo. If boo-boo is good quality, I'll buy it. If it is not, my only problem
if it isn't, don't buy those that are importing stuff.
Yes. My only issue is, do not stop my diversity of consumption just because you have the power to stop a certain product to come to my display, just because you have control, and only limit me to boo-boo. You're limiting my consumption capacity. You're limiting my preferences. Now, I cease to be free to choose because you have only conditioned me to look at boo-boo. But my issue is, if I am passionate enough and a patriot, that patriotism is part of the incentives I'm attaching to buying a boo-boo product more expensive, then I'll buy the boo-boo. Definitely, I'm a country. But do not, condition me, seize off my freedom to also look at other options that could be in the market, just because you are conditioning me to the boo-boo. Now, that's the entire philosophy of free markets. That at the end of it all, I'm not stopping you from putting in good campaigns for boo-boo, buy Uganda and build Uganda. But I'm against you trying to sabotage and, sniffle me into a confinement that only boo-boo is what I have to know.
If we are not concentrating on the freedoms, let us look at the bigger picture of why the boo-boo and why the stopping of the imports. I think it is all about the development, because people were brainwashed, thinking that everything that comes from outside Uganda is of good quality and everything. So if that is stopped and we are making them concentrate on the things that are being made here, I think it is for the development of the country.
Okay, it's very good you've said they've been brainwashed and the likes, but then I think it's a matter of taste and preference. Now, here's the situation. Build the capacity of boo-boo to come and compete with this very capacity of what is coming in. Now, that is what people actually so much agitate for as protectionism, and thinking protectionism gives you a greater safe space, to scale and the likes, and comes largely also into the gender space, whereby I, for one, I think, yes, I support gender, campaigns and the likes, but I don't agitate for the so-called welfare and the sympathy seeking. Like you see, you want sympathy. My only issue is I believe human beings have capacity. Now let the potential of the lady come to the play. If there were enabling environment that were favoring me as a gentleman and not a lady, remove that barrier that the lady will equally compete and play it in the space. Now that is what now. You don't want these things that come with, being a woman, because she's a woman, she should get this, and then you want us to compete favorably, fairly, or in an equal environment. Yes, that is key. That gets the best out of all of us. That is what comes with competition. Now, when competition comes, what options that competition? Competition brings cheaper, better, or faster products in the market. Let's look at this. Self-border was in the market. I want to use now examples because people times. Now, if let's say a controlled market, self-border has a monopolistic power, that all citizens are conditioned, self-border, do not stop. But now here, Faras comes, the same marketplace. Faras will still thrive in the same marketplace. Now look at the beauty now for the government. Self-border will pay taxes, Faras will pay taxes. They will keep paying their licenses, this will pay their licenses. Consumers will be getting consumption. Now, development is not just seeing structures and the likes. Development is improvement in the standards of living. If right now, as I was beating jam and the likes, I had to use a Faras to come here, okay? Now, traveling in that point of time, I'm getting a better privilege. That does not mean Union is not in the market. That does not mean Bolt is not in the market. That does not mean, self-border is not in the market. Now, all these diversities are there. They're thriving. They are employing people. Self-border may be employing roughly 100 people. Same is Faras. Same is Bolt. Same industry. But now, what if there was monopoly? Imagine that. This is what we want people to really roughly think.
But sometimes diversity stagnates development. There's this, there's that, there's that. But when you are concentrating on one thing, it has all the attention and the resources and everything.
Wow. Then that has to, for us to understand what's development. Development has more to do with flexibility, diversity, and the likes. So if it is confined, then it is not development.
Not kind of a confinement. You are being tough with your wording. It's not a confinement. It's just making people conditioned to do stuff the same way.
You see, development has more to do with scalability, right? And then how do I scale if I am tied to only one stuff? Now, let me give you the example. A case in point is, I gave those examples of fathers and the likes, or even I can go to the mattresses. That there are very many brands of mattresses in the market. Now, if it was only one mattress brand in the market.
If it was only Rose Foam.
Now, picture that. Picture that, and then you say, it's good for design. Like, okay, it's design and standards. Now, this is what comes to the rule of law. That there are standards, even if there are diversities. The government has to ensure there are laws to ensure standards. Yeah, that's why there's UNBS. That's why there are other entities that have to ensure all this. Now, despite the fact that you're bringing different mattresses, there are standards that should be in place, that they should be consumable for the local market.
Well, it is very hard to kind of be here and you want to, side with the government. You want to be on the side of the government because you will have to talk a lot. And when you have a libertarian in the studio, he will make you to talk because you want to defend the government. But well, in an economy that is going to be for the people, I am for the people. We are going into a short commercial break. We'll be right back.